Okay. Good morning and welcome everybody to this May TDL Forum. We're so glad you've joined us today to hear about what's going on at TDL. My name is Christy Park. I'm the Executive Director of the Texas Digital Library, and I am joined as usual by Courtney Muma, our Deputy Director, and Leah DeForest, our Communications Strategist, along with some special guests from our community who will be sharing some updates with you. A couple of reminders as we get started. If you have questions, please feel free to use the chat window to ask those at any time, and we'll find an appropriate moment to answer. And a reminder that we are recording, as I said, so you'll be able to access this on the TDL YouTube channel later on. We're going to follow our usual agenda format, and it is packed today. So fair warning that we're likely to go over our allotted time by a few minutes today. If you need to leave right at 11, we will certainly understand, and you can come back to the recording at a later time. And if you do think you're going to need to scoot out, I would recommend going ahead and downloading the slides from the Files pod down in the lower left-hand corner of the screen, so that you can check out anything that's coming up later in the presentation that you might miss. Okay, so let's dive right in. First off, we are really excited to announce that the University of North Texas Health Science Center has joined TDL as part of a consortial membership with the South Central Academic Medical Libraries Consortium, otherwise known as SCAML. UT Medical Branch and UT Southwestern Medical Center are all. We are working with UNT HSC on a migration of their institutional repository from their current vPress Digital Commons installation to a new DSpace repository hosted at TDL. And we're really excited to work with them on this, with Ramona Holmes and members of her team there. And we're documenting the migration process to benefit future members and others outside of our Texas community who might be considering a move to open infrastructure. So welcome to Dan Burgard and all the UNT HSC team. We're excited to get to work with you. Secondly, we are well on our way to reaching our goal of visiting each of our regular member institutions this year. We've recently visited 3 TDL member campuses in South Texas. We went to UT Rio Grande Valley in Edinburgh, Texas A&M International in Laredo, and Texas A&M Corpus Christi just the week before last, and it was a great week. We are receiving important feedback and input on our plans for the next couple of years, and we're getting great ideas from these meetings for more coordinated collaboration across our consortium. So thanks all of you for your willingness to schedule and host these meetings. We're having a ball, and we look forward to sharing our findings with everybody in the fall. We've got our next visits are at Texas A&M in College Station, and then I think we're headed to Houston to visit our members there. Okay, and so now I'm going to spend the rest of my time today giving you a sneak preview of what's in store for you at TCDL, which, believe it or not, starts next week. It is our favorite time of year around these parts. First off, we don't want you to miss out on our pre-conference workshops. As usual, we're asking attendees to register separately for any of these workshops that they might want to attend on May 21st. So Leah's going to paste a link to our pre-conference page in chat, and you can click that and learn more and register for those workshops. Registration for these sessions is included with your regular TCDL registration, so there's no additional charge, but we do want to get a head count and let our workshop leaders know how many to expect for the workshops next week. And I want to highlight just a couple of things in this list here. These are all great offerings. We have a Vireo 4 workshop scheduled in the morning of the pre-conference day. This is going to be your first chance to really dig in deeply with the new Vireo 4 and new features that are coming there and the changes that will come when we upgrade our hosted installations, which will probably start in the fall. So if you work with Vireo at all, this would be a great opportunity to start learning and thinking about that new version. And in the afternoon, we have a DSpace users group meeting where there's going to be a lot of great content and training around DSpace, and that's actually starting with a networking lunch at noon, and then the meeting proper will start at 1. So if you work with Vireo or DSpace, make sure you check out those, and if you have any questions about them, you can ask any of us at TDL those questions, and we'll try to answer them. So the main conference starts on May 22nd on Wednesday with an opening plenary session that's going to be very special this year, as we've decided to kick off the conference with our TDL Awards ceremony, in which we'll be celebrating the achievements of many folks within our community. This is going to be a jam-packed session starting at 8:30 a.m., which is a little earlier than we normally start, but we just had so much that we are excited to include. That session will conclude with the keynote address by Dr. Siva Vaidyanathan from the University of Virginia, and we are really excited about welcoming him. So make sure to arrive on time for this session so you don't miss out on everything that's going on. At the end of that first regular conference day, we hope you'll join us for drinks and appetizers at our opening reception and poster session. Our planning committee has cooked up another fun poster session scavenger hunt this year, and there are prizes, as you can see here on the slide, with the grand prize winner getting a free registration to next year's conference. So this should be really fun and a great way to cap off an exciting first day at TCDL. We also are taking a different approach to swag this year. In an effort to cut down on waste, we've decided to pay for experience swag for the most part instead of the usual stuff. So if you would like a professional headshot, we've hired a photographer to take your portrait during the opening reception on May 22nd, and I think the photographer will actually be there a little ahead of the reception, and we'll provide a link to download your headshot after the conference. In addition to that, you can also take a group photo with our professional photographer, and we'll have a photo booth again this year for fun selfies and group pics. And you may know on here, we wrap up the conference on Thursday, May 23rd, around 2:15, so we're wrapping up a little bit earlier than usual with another day of great programming, as you can see by the sessions listed here. And if you like relaxing with cute animals, we invited trained therapy dogs to join us for lunch on May 23rd so that you can hang out and relax with them if you want to. The therapy dogs will be on leashes, and we're going to keep them in a conference room away from the main area. So if you aren't comfortable around dogs, you aren't forced to be around them, but we hope everybody who wants to will enjoy that. And for our last TCDL update, I want to extend an invitation to a couple of ancillary events that are happening in Austin around this year's conference and make sure everybody knows about them. First, on May 20th, Monday, UT Libraries is hosting CLEAR postdoc fellow Anna Trizovich, who will be talking about data reproducibility issues and a software application called Wholetail that can help solve some of those issues with reproducibility. And UTL has invited everyone who is in town for TCDL to attend that. Please note that it is in the Perry Castaneda Library on the UT campus. Then secondly, after the pre-conference on Tuesday, those of you who are interested in or who are using Archivematica are invited to meet the ATEX Archivematica users group for a meetup at the Pickle Conference Center at 5 p.m. They're going to carpool over to the Brass Tap in the Domain for a happy hour, a meetup session starting at 5:30. So that meeting will cover the National and International Archivematica User Forum and how to get involved, and recap Archivematica Camp, and have some other discussion around Archivematica. Okie doke, that is it from me. So now I'm going to hand it over to our DSpace Users Group Chair, Ed Warga, and he's going to tell you about another exciting event that TDL is helping with, a North American DSpace Users Group meeting that's coming up in the fall. So Ed, go ahead and take it away.
Thanks, Christy. Hello, everyone. This is Ed Warga. I'm the Digital Collections Librarian at Texas A&M University Corpus Christi, and I am currently serving on the Planning Committee for the DSpace North America Users Group meeting. I'm really excited about this meeting, which will be taking place at the Anderson Library at the University of Minnesota in Minneapolis. The dates are on the slide, September 23rd to the 24th, 2019. And there's a call for proposals out right now with submissions due by the 21st of June. This meeting will provide opportunities to discuss ideas, strategies, best practices, use cases, and the future development of DSpace 7 with members of the DSpace community, including repository developers, technology directors, and institutional repository managers. We're looking for proposals to cover a variety of topics, including DSpace 7 development and integration, upgrading or migrating to DSpace, accessibility, DSpace for research data, DSpace for cultural heritage, analytics and assessment, institutional repositories and ScholComm issues, and a show and tell where people can share their ideas, successes, challenges, etc. Proposals we're looking for in the following formats: lightning talks, 20-minute presentations, 45-minute discussion panels, and instructor-led workshops. So feel free to respond to the call for proposals. You can find the link to the CFP in the link that Leah just posted on the chat. That leads you to the landing page for the group's meeting in 2019, and with all the associated links. Registration will be $50 for this event and will be open soon. Again, the CFP is currently open until June 21st. If anyone has any questions or wants to learn more about the DSpace meeting or the TDL DSpace user group, feel free to reach out to me, Ed Warga, and that's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Ed. And hi, everybody. This is Courtney Mumma, Deputy Director of TDL, and I'm going to start with some services and projects updates now. So first of all, I am very excited about this one. Everybody save the date in your calendars for the Web Archiving Texas event. This is a one-day event that'll be an opportunity to build a community around web archiving in Texas, bringing people together to share skills and resources and amplify our work in Texas that impacts the national and international web archiving community. So join the Texas Digital Library at Baylor University on Wednesday, November 6th, 2019 to begin this collaboration. We're currently developing a program that asks attendees to bring their own expertise and topics to share in the morning, with the objective then to use the afternoon to discuss the most substantial challenges that emerge in the morning, and then set our intentions as a group for moving web archiving practice forward in Texas. So think about what web archiving projects you're currently doing or planning that you can talk about at this conference. And even if you have web content, for instance, that requires archiving, but there's no program at your institution, we still want to know about it. We want to know what's out there. Registration is going to open soon. We're looking at getting some registration information out to you in June, of course, after TCDL. Another thing I want to update about is that the Texas Digital Library's DPLA Metadata Working Group has come together to provide guidance on preparing digital collections for aggregation through the Texas Digital Library's DPLA Service Hub, TexHub, with the intent that these digital collections will be shared through the Digital Public Library of America. So over the past year, some of you may be aware, the DPLA Metadata Working Group has worked closely with TDL through the development and pilot of a prototype harvester and developed a metadata application profile for the Texas Aggregation Hub that is now being released for community comment. The document's available on tdl.org. You'll see the link here. And the comment period is going to be open through the TCDL and close through the close of TCDL on Monday, May 27th, 2019. We encourage everyone to review the guidelines and provide feedback on the form linked to our website. Leah will paste that link in the chat window also. And after the period of public comment has closed, TDL will then publish and promote the use of the Texas Metadata Application Profile among contributing institutions and provide guidance on their implementation. Next, I want to introduce Rachel Zipperer, a UT iSchool student who completed her capstone project with TDL this semester. Take it away, Rachel.
Hey, yeah, everyone. I'm Rachel Zipperer, so I'm a student at UT Austin School of Information, and I completed a capstone project with TDL this semester, and I've talked to a lot of y'all already in doing this project, but just wanted to give everybody an update on what I did over the semester. So the purpose of my project was to document how TDL members are using digital collections. So part of that was identifying strengths in collecting areas, as well as goals and challenges that people had using digital collections. So I first surveyed how TDL members are using collections by looking at the public-facing digital repositories people were using, and then I interviewed a lot of you about what you're doing with digital collections. And I combined all of that into a report that TDL can hopefully use in the future as a reference for how their members are working with digital collections. And then I did some promotional things to highlight what members have been doing. So I created a digital exhibit and also did some blog posts on TDL's website and some social media posts as well. So just a little bit more about what I did after the interview process where I talked to a lot of y'all. So some of the things I found were, first of all, just how members are using these different platforms for digital collections. Most people are using DSpace through TDL. But other than that, as far as digital collections, a lot of people use Content DM, and people who were implementing digital exhibits used Omeka a lot of the time. Some of the common goals that I found were people wanting to increase student involvement in digital collections and partner with other organizations. And some of the challenges that a lot of people mentioned, other than platform limitations, were things like advocacy, so trying to promote their digital collections and oftentimes use of their institutional repositories, as well as things like metadata and discovery, that kind of thing. But after compiling all of that, I curated this digital exhibit. I decided to focus on items that had some unknown metadata elements. So things like photos with unidentified people or items with unknown creators, that kind of thing that might, not show up in people's searches or might not get a lot of promotion otherwise. And then all of the social media things that I did to kind of highlight current projects and that kind of thing are also through TDL social media, and I did some blog posts on their website as well that you can find from that landing page link there. And I'm going to be at TCDL next week too, so if anyone has any questions or wants to talk more about this then, I'll be there.
Thank you so much, Rachel, and good work, and also congratulations on graduating with your MSIS. So now we're going to go on and move ahead and share some community updates. I'm going to hand it off to Billy Peterson-Lugo to tell you a little bit more about an event coming up at Baylor this summer. Take it away, Billy.
Good morning, everyone. This is Billy Peterson-Lugo, Director of Digital Library Services and Systems at Baylor. This summer, Baylor University is hosting an ACRL Research Data Management Workshop on Friday, August 9th. Research data management has emerged as a need among academic researchers, and liaison librarians are building skills in response. So this one-day workshop will assist liaisons to identify their existing skills and mindsets that transfer to research data management services, and then create a learning plan for the RDM-specific knowledge needed to serve their subject disciplines. Tools, hints, and tricks will be shared that facilitate partnerships on campus with disciplinary faculty and with other RDM service providers. So, who should attend? This workshop is intended for liaisons who are seeking to engage with research data management for the first time, or who have a very basic knowledge of research data management. It's an introductory level experience, therefore attendees are not expected to have previous experience with research data management. The primary audience is subject liaison librarians, but a secondary audience includes senior library administrators, middle management, and other department heads, as well as technical service librarians and staff. Other departments, such as the Office of Research or Sponsored Programs, Technology Transfer, IRB, Campus IT, they may be interested, but would be a tertiary audience. I think Leah is going to post, or maybe has already, no, she's going to post a link in the chat window where you can learn more about it and register. Feel free to contact me, Billy Peterson-Lugo, if you have any questions. I hope to see you there, and I believe there is no cost to attend the workshop. However, you will, your transportation if you stay overnight, and any, your lunch will be on you. That's pretty much it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Billy, for that update. This looks like a great event, so I hope we have a lot of TDL representation there in August. So speaking of research data management, I wanted to remind everyone that our final webinar in the Topics in Research Data Management series is going to be on June 25th at 2 p.m. Sonia M. Barbosa, who's the Manager of Data Curation and Acquisition for the Harvard Dataverse Project and Manager of the Murray Research Archive, will discuss outreach to researchers to get more buy-in, as well as discussing gatekeeping submissions in order to avoid messy data and private and sensitive data from getting in. The webinars in this series are all free and open to anyone who's interested, but registration is required. You can sign up at tdl.org, and Leah's going to post that link, as always, to the event page in the chat window. Now I'm going to hand things over to Leah for some more updates.
Hey, thanks, Courtney, and hello, everyone. I'm Leah DeForest, the Communications Strategist with Texas Digital Library, and I want to encourage you all to sign up for our Intro to Pressbooks webinar if you haven't yet. Pressbooks is offering an intro webinar just for TDL members, and that's tomorrow, May 16th, starting at 2 p.m. The webinar will discuss why Pressbooks can be helpful to you, so maybe give you some tips on that advocacy piece as you ramp up your OER initiatives on your campuses. And we'll also go through a demo of how the platform works. So this particular webinar will be specifically geared towards librarians. We do plan to offer a second repeat webinar in the fall, and we'll encourage everyone to invite faculty and instructional and personnel so that you have a chance to maybe use some of the things that you learned in this initial webinar to get faculty on board for a fall webinar. I'm going to go ahead and paste a link to register and learn more. And I do hope I get to see y'all tomorrow. And next, another exciting webinar coming up in our Getting Started with OER webinar series, which highlights practical steps to getting started with open educational resources on your campus. Each webinar in the series will feature presentations from academic librarians working with OER throughout Texas, and all the webinars in this series are free and open to anyone who's interested. The next webinar is June 18th, and I'm going to paste the link in the chat. We do ask that you sign up. The June 18th webinar will feature presentations on how to sustain OER initiatives on your campus once you get started. And then finally, I just want to say how excited we all are for TCDL to start. Keep an eye out for emails if you've registered. We're going to email your parking passes and lots of info for you to have everything you need for TCDL. Those emails will be going out in the next few days. If you have any questions along the way, please feel free to email me or my colleague Lauren McCulloch. And on behalf of our planning committee and all of us on TDL staff, we just cannot wait to see everyone next week. Before I hand it back over to Christy, I want to do a couple housekeeping things. One is, here's a link to our forum survey. I do appreciate that those of you who have taken a second to just give your quick feedback on how these forums are going. It really helps us out. I also want to mention that we have started pasting a lot of links in the chat boxes in our forums. Moving forward, all those links will be in a slide, basically in the PDF. So if you go to that file pod at the bottom left of your screen, you'll see at the last slide in that PDF all these links that we've included today. And that's it for me. And back to you, Christy.
Awesome. Thank you, Leah, and everybody who spoke today. We actually got through all that content with 4 minutes to spare, so good job. We were very efficient. We do have, that leaves us some time for questions, and so if you have additional questions, go ahead and begin typing those in the chat window. I want to address a question Bruce asked earlier in our time together. But before I do that, I want to say, I don't know if others have noticed, but I've had a kind of glitchy Adobe Connect experience today with the audio, so apologies for that if you were experiencing that as well. So Bruce asked earlier, do you think there would be any benefit to organize TDL user groups around complex outcomes? For example, how to get faculty to use our institutional repositories instead of platform-based user groups? This is a really great question and something we've been thinking about a lot internally. Most of our groups are centered around technology platforms like DSpace and Vireo, etc. And I think those are very useful and good. But we've been thinking too about other kinds of groups that might be centered around, I like how you put it, Bruce, around complex problems that we could work on together. So one of the very specific questions that we're asking on these member visits that we're making as we're visiting with each one of our member institutions on their campuses is about groups and what kinds of problems are you facing and how could we work together to solve some of those. So this is something that we're thinking about and talking about a lot this spring and summer with each one of our members, and that we want to continue talking about with you. Faculty outreach around scholarly communications services that the library provides has been, I think, consistently raised as an issue at every one of our member campuses. So you've really hit the nail on the head with that, Bruce. So I think the likelihood of us thinking about a work group or just an interest group where people could work together on cracking that nut is very likely in the next year. But we're interested in hearing everyone's thoughts on what would be most useful. Another one that has come up is accessibility issues and 508 compliance with across a lot of our digital services and others as well. Are there other questions? Looks like no, I don't see anybody typing. So we'll wrap it up for today with just a minute to spare and wrap up by saying we are so excited to see many of you in person next week here in Austin with us. All of our staff will be together, which is a rare thing for us too. So it's going to be a really fun week and a really, I think, edifying week as well. So everybody travel safe who's coming. Those of you who aren't, we will miss having you here, but we'll see you online very soon. Bye, everybody.